So I've always loved the Eero Saarinen tulip tables, and it occurred to me that you could kind of probably get away with making all three components of the table on a lathe. Um, I'm a beginner woodworker and beginner wood turner, so you'll see me making tons of mistakes. But I was basically trying to figure out a way to use up some wood that I got from my wife's aunt. She was moving houses and getting rid of kind of household worth of furniture, and so she had a cherry bed that was basically getting to trash heap, and so this is my repurposing of that wood. So I didn't really have a plan for the shape of the table. I cut it to approximately the right size. The maximum stock that this lathe can accept is 18 inches, and so that's determined the length of this middle portion. And then I figured if I turned it in three parts, I could get it up to 20 inches, which is kind of standard side table height. And that's yeah. So this is me basically just finding a shape. Sometimes I make a mistake, and that'll dictate the direction that the shape will go. I eventually settled on basically using the fluted portion of the bedpost to kind of blend into the top of the table. And I decided that a smooth paper going from maybe about 2 inches at the base to maybe around 1 inch at the top both made use of the wood that I had and also looked right to my eye. It gave a little bit more weight and stability towards the base, at least visually speaking. But as you can see, I don't have good dust collection, so I'm basically holding my breath when I'm taking off the finish. I have no idea what it is. It seems like it's a polyurethane finish, so I figured I would try to avoid. I'm wearing a mask, but I figured I'd also try to avoid using microplastics. And an advanced wood turner would be able to do this much faster. This is me sort of doing scraping cuts, and eventually I realized that using a skew chisel is not going to give me the finish I need. And so I pick up a bowl gouge, and you'll see me using the bowl gouge later in this table build. This is like more or less my first time using it, and I have no idea how to use it. So, as you see, there's a catch there. Basically trying to eliminate tear out, get a smooth line, and I think when I start this table, I have no idea how to use a bowl gouge, and when I finish this table, I have some idea. Still don't know how to properly use a bowl gouge, but I get a lot further.
I'm attracted by the way.
And then I basically just cleaned up the tool marks with some sandpaper. I think I got it down to 320. I didn't spend a lot of time. I'm better with a skew chisel than I am with some of these other tools. And then I just rubbed some mineral oil on there and just buffed off the excess with a shop cloth. And then I rubbed a little bit of beeswax on there and polished it in. This was a lazy finish, and this is a little bit of an experimental table for me anyway, but I would not use this finish again for reasons that you will see later. For the base, I basically just glued up 2 pieces of cherry. I cut them into circles on the bandsaw, and then basically just tested, took away material, tried to get like a smooth shape, smooth contours that join those 2 pieces. And also, you see me sort of test fitting the pedestal, and basically just trying to see if those curves line up and seem like they belong together. I also obviously did not really think this from the angle through, so So here's where I really run into a problem with my mineral oil technique. The problem is cherry accepts oil depending on whether it's end grain or side grain or whatever, a little bit differently. And so I was hoping that if I just saturated it, that it would look even enough. The problem is you can kind of see some of those areas where more oil saturated the end grain fibers. And then this is me basically just doing the top. Again, the top was, again, cut out on a bandsaw into a circle and then chopped on a lathe to do a little bit of final contour. I settled on a sharper taper there. And then basically I shoved a little oak dowel in the top with some wood glue and kind of eyeballed it. And then kind of shoved it together. I hadn't really thought this through beforehand. I was just kind of getting it done. And that was about it. I basically let it dry, and then here's the final reveal. I think it looks less sloppy than I looked while making it.